Senator Hayes, Chairperson Goodham, trustees, Mr. Winthrop, distinguished guests, delegates, faculty, staff, students, alumni, citizens of South Carolina, and my beloved friends and family. Thank you so much for honoring us with your presence today as we commemorate the past, celebrate the present, and look onward and upward to the future of Winthrop University. The historical source of the word inauguration stems from the Latin word augur, and it can be traced back to ancient Roman rituals during which priests observed the behavior of birds to discern if it was the will of the gods for the public official to serve in office. The augurs believed that only some species of birds could yield valid signs, and of course, one of the most trusted species was the eagle, bold and strong. Today's augurs are search committees and boards of trustees. I am most grateful that Winthrop Search Committee and trustees saw signs just over a year ago that I would be the right person to serve as the 10th president of Winthrop University. Thank you for the confidence that you have shown in me. Larry and I consider our leadership opportunity at Winthrop to be part of a sacred trust that we were called to perform in service to all of you assembled here, and especially to our students. I promise you that I will gather around me the most capable people that I know, and with their input and your support, we will do all within our power and reach to steward this fine institution and put Winthrop and our students on the rise. Universities use inauguration ceremonies to mark the formal beginning of a president's term of office and to provide a forum for new leaders to announce their vision and plans. But I emphatically believe that for a vision to have traction, it cannot come from new leadership. For a vision to have traction, it must come from the hearts and minds of the people who know the institution best and who are committed to its continued success. With this in mind, I used my first opening address to situate Winthrop within the national higher education context, to explain our enrollment growth imperative, and to identify important questions for us to discuss before establishing new strategies for our university. Then I listened, and I took notes. I listened to our faculty, staff, students, alumni, senior leaders, and trustees. I held town hall meetings and focus group sessions, an 8-city alumni tour, FaceTime and special meetings with student leaders, divisional and college meetings, senior leader and board retreats, and dozens of conversations at city meetings, ball games, and in the grocery store. Together, we openly explored how Winthrop can and should rise to the challenges facing higher education today. We talked about how best to serve the expanding student archetype that includes residential students, adult students over the age of 25, veterans, and working professionals who need a graduate degree to advance or change their career. We talked about how best to address the concern for affordability that stems from the rising cost of college and the increase in student debt. We talked about how best to demonstrate not only our willingness, but also our very strong desire to be held accountable for student success, which is most often measured by retention and graduation rates. We talked about how best to ensure that all Winthrop students have the opportunity to gain the essential learning outcomes produced by high-quality, high-impact practices like collaborative research, creative activity, study abroad, service learning, and internships. And we talked about how best to serve our pressing national, state, and regional workforce development needs by refreshing our programming and utilizing technology to broaden access and to increase the percentage of adults with a high-quality college degree. The Winthrop University community embraced this need to broaden access to quality higher education as if we were called to rise. Throughout our visioning discussions, we challenged ourselves and each other to refresh our thinking, renew our strategies, and ensure that all deserving students, regardless of demographic category or life experience, have access to the kind of quality education that an exceptional institution like Winthrop can provide. We determined that Winthrop sits at the intersection of quality higher education and access to higher education. And from this nexus, our vision is to redefine excellence in public higher education by integrating access and quality in a singular institution. Now, access and quality are not mutually exclusive. They never have been. In fact, this integrated approach is part of Winthrop's evolving DNA. From its inception in 1886, Winthrop University, then known as Winthrop Training School, provided quality education and characterized what was called the new age of enlightened society in the South. Yet tuition remission was available for students unable to pay the $2 per month cost of tuition. And until 1955, Winthrop students were required to wear uniforms so that the wealthiest girl in school could not be distinguished from her peers who came from families with modest means. Then 50 years ago, in 1964, just after the passage of the Civil Rights Act, Cynthia Player Roddy enrolled as the first black student at Winthrop. This courageous Rock Hill native earned her Master of Arts degree in teaching in 1967 and blazed a trail of access for others to follow. Now, Winthrop currently ranks among the top 10 public regional comprehensives in the South, according to U.S. News. However, unlike other top-ranked institutions, Winthrop steadfastly defines excellence as inclusive rather than exclusive. And we refuse to sacrifice quality while we open doors to all deserving students who want to transform their opportunities through education. Winthrop is the university of choice for a diverse array of achievement-oriented, socially responsible students. We can be distinguished from our in-state peers because 312 Palmetto scholars currently are enrolled at Winthrop. These are the students who are among the best and brightest in South Carolina. Winthrop can be distinguished from other top 10 public comprehensive institutions in the South because 39% of Winthrop students come from families with modest means and are eligible for Pell Grants. This is 14% higher than the average percentage of Pell-eligible students in the top-ranked public comprehensives in the South. Winthrop can also be distinguished from other top institutions because 33% of our undergraduate students are domestic minority students. And this is 18% higher than the average minority student population for the top 10 public universities in the South. Clearly, we have embraced the inclusive excellence ideal. We believe that academic excellence is enhanced by an inclusive rather than an exclusive approach to admission and access because we believe that the most impactful educational experience requires exposure to diverse views and the opportunity to live and learn alongside diverse others. Through our contemporary version of delivering quality and access in a singular university, Winthrop will become an institutional leader in advancing the higher education attainment agenda. While we increase the higher education attainment rate for our state and our nation, we will ensure that all Winthrop alumni are prepared to be successful in their chosen careers, engaged in our democratic society, responsive to local and global concerns, and grounded in values that give meaning to their lives. As an institution, we will rise by lifting our students from where they are to their fullest level of potential. We will challenge the well-prepared student, and we will support the challenged student. And in so doing, we will create transformative experiences for all of our students. Our new vision to define excellence by offering quality and access in a singular institution promotes both individual achievement and the greater good. Our new vision recognizes that in the United States and in South Carolina, education serves three primary interrelated purposes. First, to fuel our nation and our state's economic engine through workforce development and inspiring entrepreneurs. Second, to prepare people for democratic citizenship and social responsibility through exposure to the liberal arts, diverse people and experiences, and challenges that develop higher levels of intellectual, ethical, and moral reasoning. And third, to promote professional success and social mobility by recognizing the fundamental connection between quality of education and equality of opportunity. Our new vision accents our values-oriented culture and is tethered to our long-standing mission to integrate liberal arts, professional programs, global education, and civic engagement while providing personalized, challenging undergraduate and graduate education of a national caliber. With a top 10 regional public university ranking, numerous other awards and publications from organizations like Princeton Review and Washington Monthly, and specialized accreditation wherever possible, we have ample external evidence that we are delivering on our mission and have carved out a distinctive institutional niche for Winthrop University. For our new vision to put us on the rise, however, we need to look onward and upward to establish university-wide strategic priorities and to adopt a set of related national caliber performance goals that directly target improvements of quality and impact. The strategic priorities will direct our human and financial resources in support of our vision over the next 5 years. And the performance goals will help us stay disciplined and to hold ourselves accountable for student success. Our 6 priorities for the next 5 years are: number 1, promote access and degree attainment for an increasing number of diverse, traditional, post-traditional, and graduate students. Number 2, continually enhance the quality of the Winthrop University experience for all students. Number 3, forge new and solidify existing governmental, organizational, and business partnerships for mutual benefit. Number 4, create a great colleges to work for campus culture characterized by collaborative decision-making, transparency, civility, fair wages, and investment in the professional development of our faculty and staff. Number 5, uplift our institutional profile regionally and nationally in ways that support the value of a Winthrop University education. And number 6, cultivate a culture of philanthropy that will enable our rising aspirations. Now please focus with me a bit as I address the justification, expected impact, and initial activities for each of these 6 uplifting strategic priorities. When I accepted the job as president of Winthrop University, I pledged to make degree attainment a high priority at our university. A little bit of Dr. Sandine rubbed off on me. The campus community also embraced this challenge with the full appreciation of America's future that includes increasing from 40% to 60% the percentage of adults in our country with completed college degrees and certificates. Beyond the obvious desire for a well-educated electorate, this higher education attainment goal is important because by 2018, that's just 4 years away, about 63% of U.S. jobs will require some level of post-secondary education. Now, similar workforce development requirements are expected in South Carolina as well. According to a recent study sponsored by Competing Through Knowledge Initiatives, unless South Carolina starts to make serious degree attainment change today, by 2030, our state will have a shortfall of more than 70,000 workers with a bachelor's degree. That is, unless we make changes today, we will lose more jobs to our international competitors and we will broaden our country's earning power divide. Now, I am proud to say that Winthrop makes a substantial contribution to closing the higher education attainment gap for South Carolinians. Nearly 90% of our students are from South Carolina, and about 38,000 Winthrop alumni make South Carolina their home. Clearly, Winthrop is part of the brain gain solution for the Palmetto State. Still, our university has arrived at a strategic inflection point. It's pressing us to realize that we have the capacity and the obligation to make it possible for more deserving male and female in-state students to have access to the kind of quality education that Winthrop University provides. We also have the capacity to serve a modest increase of male and female high-achieving out-of-state students. These students will bring a diversity of backgrounds and experience to our campus community. By acting deliberately to create the Division of Access and Enrollment Management and to hire an expert to lead this area, I have laid the groundwork for access and enrollment growth for traditional, post-traditional, veterans, and other undergraduate students. By working with the provost to empower the dean of the graduate school, I also have sparked enrollment growth initiatives at the graduate level. With these structures in place, we will rise to the challenge of promoting access and degree attainment through increasing our student population by at least 1,000 students by fall of 2018. We will need to devise a number of incremental goals and related tactics to achieve this level of enrollment growth without sacrificing quality. And we'll start with a plan for growth within each segment of our student body. However, at this point, I know we will need to expand student housing options for our traditional students, create accelerated course offerings and provide convenient facilities and service for our busy adult students, deliver more online and technologically enhanced courses, and package our degree offerings into a vision-driven, market-smart program mix at all levels. In addition to supporting the attainment agenda, growing the student population produces the happy byproduct of decreasing our administrative expenses per student and promoting affordability for all students. However, truly promoting degree attainment requires a deliberate focus and concomitant willingness to be held accountable for retention rates, graduation rates, and affordability. Our freshman-sophomore retention rate of 73% is higher than the national average for comprehensive universities, in large part because we already follow best practices for student engagement and academic success programs. Still, all 8 of the regional public institutions ranked higher than Winthrop by U.S. News also have higher retention and graduation rates than we do. This means that if we are to rise in the rankings from the top 10 to the top 5, we must raise our retention and graduation rate to at least 82%, which is the average retention rate for our aspirant group, and for the graduation rate to 68%, which again is the average for our aspirant group. Now, as our freshman-sophomore retention rate increases, our graduation rates will naturally follow. But we also need a deliberate focus on graduation rates because many students in good academic standing drop out after their sophomore year, most often citing that they simply can't afford to stay in school. And friends, that is an unnecessary loss of human potential that I simply cannot abide. Our next level of progress in improving retention rates and degree attainment will require an unprecedented focus on increasing affordability. However, I resolve that we will not sacrifice quality to reduce costs. Institutions that sacrifice quality to decrease costs may make short-term gains, but in the long run, they also decrease their potential to attract and retain the kinds of students that we want at Winthrop University. In the long run, sacrificing quality to increase affordability just does not work. We have to increase affordability in other ways. Increasing affordability at Winthrop requires a partnership with state government and a three-pronged approach. First, we must implore our partners in the legislature to restore state funding based on the impact that our program provides. Second, we must do our part to reduce our expense per student FTE by adopting administrative efficiencies. And we also need to lessen students' time to degree by removing unnecessary curricular barriers. And third, we must offer additional need-based scholarships so that more students can afford to enroll at Winthrop and also afford to stay in school and graduate with minimal debt. Currently, Winthrop meets 62% of our students' financial need, and the most recent comparisons show that Winthrop students graduate with the lowest average debt in South Carolina. Still, we know that the average Winthrop student debt of over $20,000 can seem daunting to college graduates striving to provide a safe, secure, and happy life for themselves and their families. Therefore, we have to establish a goal to meet 80% of our students' financial need. Movement toward this goal will support our access, attainment, and affordability priorities. Bottom line, I envision a future at Winthrop where students gain access and attain a degree based on their ability to learn, not on their ability to pay. Although I am committed to inclusive excellence and making our high-quality Winthrop degrees affordable, I am keenly aware that our continued ability to attract and retain high-achieving, socially responsible students also depends on maintaining the additional elements of quality that define the Winthrop University experience. Winthrop is part of the Association of American Colleges and Universities Campus Action Network for a program called Liberal Education and America's Promise, or LEAP. And for those of you who are on Winthrop's campus, that's not the same as our local LEAP program. The AAC&U LEAP initiative challenges the tradition of providing liberal education to some students and narrow training to other students. LEAP institutions like Winthrop help all students, regardless of their major, prepare for the personal and professional success in the 21st century through exposure to the liberal arts and by achieving a set of essential learning outcomes that are now the national benchmark for undergraduate learning in America. I have been involved with the LEAP program for several years, and am proud to say that upon my appointment as president of Winthrop, I was invited to join the leadership group within the LEAP initiative called the President's Trust. This group of only 100 presidents from across the country is expected to engage with campus and key external stakeholders about the value and essential learning outcomes fostered by a liberal arts education. Performing this responsibility has been a professional joy for me, and it will continue to be so, as I firmly believe that there is nothing quite as valuable or as practical as an education that is grounded in and inspired by the liberal arts. The essential learning outcomes produced by this approach to higher education include 4 primary areas of learning: knowledge of human cultures and the physical and natural world, intellectual and practical skills like critical and creative thinking, written and oral communication, information literacy, teamwork, and problem solving. Also then personal and social responsibility skills, including ethical reasoning, intercultural competencies, and civic knowledge and engagement. And finally, integrative and applied learning, which represents the deeper levels of learning across general and specific areas of study. Winthrop engenders these quality-defining, essential learning outcomes through the delivery of 10 profoundly effective, high-impact practices. And we do so through an award-winning model of seamless connections among academic affairs, student affairs, and athletic programming. We know for sure that high-impact practices have a positive impact on student retention and degree attainment, as well as on a student's first post-baccalaureate experience, whether or not that's work or going to graduate school. Fortunately, we reach most segments of our student population with 6 of the high-impact practices, including first-year experience, common intellectual experiences like the Common Book, learning communities, writing intensive courses, collaborative assignments, and a capstone course. But we also know for sure that life circumstances preclude many of our students from accessing their opportunity to participate in the remaining 4 practices known to produce the deepest levels of learning. Many of our students, particularly first-generation students, veterans, and adult learners, have work or dependent care obligations that render them unable to take advantage of the most highly engaging and impactful educational practices. They simply can't afford or don't have the time for collaborative research and creative activity, study abroad, service learning, and internships. But if we are to be guided by the strategic priority to enhance the quality of Winthrop University for all students, we must launch a new efforts to ensure that all Winthrop students have the opportunity to access the high-quality opportunities that we offer here. And we are already off to a good start. Now, Dr. Sandine mentioned to you that Winthrop University has been selected for a Change and Improvement Lab participation that's funded by a grant from the Lumina Foundation. We are one of only 10 universities nationwide selected for this initiative, and we actually will be starting next week participating in an 18-month project to implement our new change and innovation program, appropriately called RISE, Realizing Investments in Student Engagement. The RISE program will provide intensive academic counseling and career mentoring to all first-generation undergraduate freshmen, transfer students, regardless of their age. RISE will also deliver alternative program designed to allow these students to engage in high-impact opportunities that will enhance their prospects for a degree and post-degree success. opportunities that reduce and eliminate resource barriers like time, money, and logistics also will be included, but individually structured to meet the students' needs. Our new RISE program will provide real help to students with aspirations to be like 1989 graduate Roy Weathers, a first-generation college student from Blacksburg, South Carolina. Roy earned a degree in accounting from Winthrop and went on to earn a master's degree, and is now a partner and the New York Metro Regional Tax Leader for PricewaterhouseCoopers. There are only 3 people in this leading corporation who operate at Roy's level. As a first-generation college student from a rural community in South Carolina, Roy clearly made the most of his time at Winthrop and accepted the dare to rise. To augment the RISE project, we also will launch special efforts to targeted increased populations and participation in collaborative research and creative activity, study abroad, and service learning. And all of these activities will benefit our individual students and our institutional reputation. In fact, we already have momentum going on a few of these initiatives. Last month, as part of our institutional commitment to global education, Winthrop joined the Generation Study Abroad commitment. We did that by invitation from the Institute of International Education. In 2011, 2012, that academic year, the most recent year for which comparative data is available, only about 2% of Winthrop students studied abroad. 96 undergraduate students and 7 graduate students for a total of 103. By fall of 2012, we had increased the number of students who graduated with a study abroad experience to 7%. In joining Generation Study Abroad, we pledged to triple the number of Winthrop students studying abroad by the end of the decade. Now, I believe that we will easily surpass this goal through our ongoing efforts and by implementing our new Global Ambassador Scholarship Program. This scholarship program helps recruit out-of-state students and provides support for these scholars and other qualified in-state students to study abroad. The scholarship program is designed to recruit 50 new students per year for a total of 200 students participating at the end of 4 years. And I am pleased to report that during this first year of recruiting for Global Ambassador Scholars, we have received more qualified applications than can be admitted to the program. As we support student engagement and study abroad, we uplift the student participants and elevate our reputation as an institution that better prepares students for global citizenship and the 21st century workplace. Financial assistance for study abroad will provide real help to students with aspirations like those of Winthrop alumna Sonia Gary. Sonia earned her bachelor's and master's degree in psychology in the mid-90s and she is thriving in today's global economy as a vice president at Morgan Stanley in Hong Kong. As a young woman from Greenville, South Carolina, who has successfully immersed herself in Chinese culture, Sonia made the most of her Winthrop experience. She also established the Sonia Gary Scholarship in 2012, so more psychology students like her could also accept the Dare to Rise. Like study abroad, service learning and community engagement also produce deep levels of learning for students. Last year, Winthrop students delivered more than 63,000 measured hours of community service in York County alone. These efforts and others like our wildly successful Bookorama Day of Service yesterday, there were more than 9,000 books part of that from yesterday. That's something. Now, think about that. how many lives are going to be changed because of that service project and the books that we are now going to be able to provide to elementary children in our city. So thank you to all who participated in that. As a result of efforts like that, Winthrop earned a place on the President's Higher Education Community Service Honor Roll for the past 8 years. We are proud of the impact our students have in service to Rock Hill and York County. However, for Winthrop to earn a place on the honor roll with distinction, to make service learning and community activities accessible to all students, and to maximize our community impact, we need to ensure that more students have the opportunity to participate in service learning and community engagement activity. Toward that end, I created the Office of Community Engagement and Impact and set an agenda for invigorating community service collaborations that I like to call the Communiversity Partnerships. This program, which will complement our existing civic engagement activities, involves scholarship and other financial support for students who work in community-based learning environments. The plan is that these initiatives will fully inflate Winthrop's positive impact on the community and make it possible for more of our students to acquire the full range of learning outcomes that derive from service-oriented, hands-on learning experiences, including the life-changing realization that they too can dare to rise by lifting others. Now, universities depend on several types of partnerships to advance education and other institutional priorities. In addition to the Communiversity partnerships involving students learning from their service to Rock Hill residents, we should also forge and solidify innovative and fruitful partnerships with government, business, education, and not-for-profit organizations in order to advance our mutual success. Winthrop is surrounded by potential partners with reciprocal interests and mutual need. We can reach our shared goals more quickly if we work together, as we have with the Rock Hill Economic Development Corporations on projects like Knowledge Park, or with York Technical College by creating the Bridge program, or with local businesses and schools that exchange work product for providing near professional opportunities for our students and applied research opportunities for our faculty, or with not-for-profit organizations that can extend their services through volunteer efforts of Winthrop faculty, staff, and students, or with the city by sharing space and resources in exchange for financial support, as we have with some of our sport venues. Could we do the same with a library, performing arts venues, or expanded athletic facilities? Maybe so. Winthrop University should not be an isolated ivory tower. Instead, we invite our civic partners to join us as we become more like Governor John Winthrop's city on a hill, embracing our responsibility to uphold familiar commerce together, to make others' conditions our own, to always have before our eyes commission and community in our work. With this in mind, as long as I am president, Winthrop University will recognize that the success of our university is inextricably linked to the success of our neighbors and the surrounding community. We are aware of and we embrace our responsibility to meet our technologically advanced educational needs and the workforce development needs of our constituents. And we will continue to seek ways to uplift the economic, recreational, cultural, and intellectual development of our home community. In return, we ask members of the community to continue to partner with us for mutual benefit and relief. Now, as we strive to make Winthrop the university of choice for an increasing number of high-achieving students and a powerful resource for our community and state, we should also strive to make Winthrop the university of choice for talented and highly qualified faculty and staff. Toward that end, as many of you know, Winthrop is participating for the first time in the Chronicle of Higher Education's Great Colleges to Workforce Survey. Results of the survey, which are expected in August, will reveal faculty and staff perceptions of Winthrop's working environment. We also have expanded shared governance opportunities by supporting the staff assembly. I believe we are headed in the right direction. Just this week, Winthrop's Division of Student Life was selected as a national top 30 promising place to work in student affairs. This new designation flows from a study that examined administrative structures, commitment to diversity, and workplace staffing practices in student life divisions. We certainly are pleased and proud, but not at all surprised, that our student life division is considered among the best places to work in the country. But to further strengthen the commitment to a positive campus culture, I am pleased to share with you that I have signed on to a national challenge for higher education aimed at retaining a 21st century workforce. By committing Winthrop as a coalitional partner to this ACE-sponsored challenge, I agreed to advance excellence at Winthrop by broadly and equitably implementing workplace flexibility as a tool to enhance the recruitment, retention, advancement, and retirement of faculty at all levels. Now, although the ACE challenges us to focus on faculty, I intend to work within the state constraints to implement workplace flexibility for staff as well. I am committed to nurturing a campus culture characterized by collaborative decision-making, transparency, civility, fair wages, and investment in the professional development of our faculty and staff. The visioning process exemplifies my commitment to transparency, evidence-based decisions, and a willingness to engage openly in difficult collaborative conversations. Through the visioning process, I developed confidence in the Winthrop community's ability to face issues squarely, to rise above personal agendas, and take the long view when considering our strategic priorities. From my view, Winthrop already is a great place to work. In many ways, perception is reality. So every day that I walk down Alumni Drive and up the steps of Tillman, I'm walking on sunshine with a purpose. But despite my positive perceptions of all things Winthrop, I know that if we are to achieve our vision of redefining excellence in public higher education, we must uplift our university profile regionally and nationally in ways that accent our institutional strengths and the value of the Winthrop University educational experience. How Winthrop is perceived by potential students, their parents, alumni, donors, legislators, the news and sports media, employers, graduate school admissions committees, and higher education professionals across the country dramatically impacts our ability to put Winthrop and our students on the rise. As an initial step to enable enrollment growth and institutional visibility, we will need to refresh our marketing strategies and institutional messaging at all levels and across all platforms. As an example, Winthrop adopted the Live, Learn, Lead messaging plan in 2004. Now that was 3 years before Apple launched the iPhone, and the same year that our current crop of prospective students was in the first grade. So the messaging is not bad or wrong, it's just tired. Over the next several months, we will engage in a process designed to identify the messages and the medium that will resonate with contemporary and future students, our alumni, and other constituency groups. Now, as we move in this direction, we will, of course, retain our school colors and our mascot. And and take great care to ensure that our new messaging reflects a contemporary manifestation of our institutional vision, our enduring values, and the elements of quality that characterize Winthrop University. But a new messaging campaign is not all we need to enable our rising aspirations. In this climate of dwindling state support, we must also shape a culture of philanthropy if we are to fulfill our pledge to maintain affordability while at the same time supporting salary increases, instructional and student engagement programs, and quality across the board that is accessible to all deserving students who want to transform their lives through education. To inspire progress toward a culture of philanthropy, I constituted the Division of Institutional Advancement and hired an experienced advancement professional to lead this integral area. I also work with the Winthrop University Foundation Board to bolster leadership that has already strengthened the foundation operations and protocols. In a true culture of philanthropy, fundraising is viewed and valued as mission-aligned university program of work with accountability for fundraising shared across the organization. Universities with a culture of philanthropy are most effective at fundraising because their efforts are coordinated by the development staff, but the responsibility for fundraising is assigned to and embraced by alumni and everyone in the university community, from board members to the faculty and staff. Stories of individual, foundation, and corporate support for Winthrop began with the Peabody Fund and Robert Charles Winthrop's initial donations, and they continue through the decades. From the formation of the Alumni Association in 1889, the creation of the foundation in 1973, the first $1 million endowment from the Pamplin family in 1993, the successful completion of the Lasting Achievement Campaign in 2003, and the launch of the Distinction Campaign in 2011. Today, I am very pleased to announce that this past December, we received the largest known gift in Winthrop history. This gift of just over $2.2 million came to us as a bequest from Dr. Ann Coleman Payton. Dr. Payton, who spent most of her professional life as a professor of English at Florida Atlantic University, had family ties to the Carolinas and a cousin who attended Winthrop before she was killed in a car accident. Dr. Payton's generous donation is designated to support scholarships for theater majors. These scholarships will have a meaningful impact on our ability to recruit talented theater majors, and they will make it going to college and completing a degree a real possibility for deserving students. In the wake of this substantial gesture of support for access and attainment for theater students at Winthrop, I was inspired to conceptualize the Dare to Rise Fund as a special initiative that will support students in all majors and bolster the vision of Winthrop as uniquely positioned to offer quality and access in a singular institution. The Dare to Rise Fund will galvanize a spectrum of initiatives designed to ensure the highest caliber of instruction and support for students and allow Winthrop to promote a program of inclusive excellence through need-based financial aid. The fund serves as a bridge connecting the successful past with a promising future and aligns with my steadfast belief that all students, regardless of their demographic category or life experience, deserve the kind of education that an exceptional institution like Winthrop provides. Through the Dare to Rise initiatives, third-generation college students like me will be challenged to rise to their full potential alongside first-generation college students like Roy Weathers, as well as Winthrop University legacy students like Eddie Lee. Eddie Lee graduated with a master's degree in history from Winthrop, later earned a PhD from South Carolina, and is now a tenured faculty member in his home department. Dr. Lee is one of 34 full-time Winthrop faculty with at least one degree from our university. As the mayor of York and a third-generation Winthrop graduate, he was inspired to dare to rise by his mother, who graduated in 1932, and his grandmother, who graduated in 1896. She was part of the first class of Winthrop students to graduate from the Rock Hill campus. Unfortunately, time does not allow for me to share all of the inspiring stories that I have heard about our fabulous Winthrop alumni. Throughout all of the accounts I've heard, however, there is a single thread. Let's call it the blue line, that weaves the stories into an impressive mosaic of legacy and opportunity. The goals of the Dare to Rise Fund support that mosaic and seem to resonate with many people who view higher education as a way to ignite individual potential, inspire individual achievement, and improve life in our state and in our nation. Larry and I made the first monetary contribution to the Dare to Rise idea, and I am happy to announce that our vision for the future already has traction. Today, just 7 weeks after the fund was announced in the inaugural mailings, 258 people have collectively contributed more than $1,100,000 to support our vision of integrating access and quality in the singular institution. This is the beginning of the Dare to Rise initiative that will allow us to integrate access and quality in a singular institution and make degree attainment a reality for all deserving students who want to transform their lives through education. Contributors include 100% of the members of our Board of Trustees, of our President's Advisory Council, of the Senior Advancement Staff, and the Academic Leadership Council. And the fund also has received dozens of contributions from faculty, staff, retirees, alumni, and friends of our university. Each gift is a show of support that strengthens our resolve to deliver education that challenges the well-prepared student and supports the challenged student. Each gift sets an eagle soaring as an augur sign that it is our time to lead this university. Winthrop University is at a strategic inflection point in its institutional history. And friends, we have been called to rise. We have answered that call with a bold and optimistic vision that uniquely positions Winthrop to redefine excellence in public higher education. To achieve our aim of integrating quality and access in a singular institution, we have collaboratively outlined 6 strategic priorities, and I have established several stretch goals that will shoot Winthrop to the top of any ranking that measures accountability for student success. Now, can we reach our rising aspirations? I believe we can. We already have momentum, and I believe that we are closer than it may seem to those who have toiled here much longer than I have. In her poem, "We Never Know How High We Are," Emily Dickinson wrote, "We never know how high we are till we are called to rise. And then if we are true to plan, our statues touch the sky." With these words in mind, I believe that we can and will achieve the vision and goals we have for our university and our students. For we have faced our challenges head on and answered yes with a resounding collective voice. when we were called to rise. Together, we will deliver the highest caliber educational experience and sustain a challenging and supportive learning community in which our students rise to their full potential. Together, we will shape a campus culture characterized by collaboration and mutual respect, where our faculty and staff feel truly valued and can rise professionally. Together, we will embrace our responsibilities to serve the citizens of Rock Hill and York County and the state of South Carolina and promote a workforce development program, and will promote social mobility. And together, we will steward this institution onward and upward through the currents rocking higher education today to ensure that the best is yet to come for Winthrop University. And now let me say, may we go always onward, always upward. Winthrop, ever stand.